Singapore went from a tiny island with nothing to one of the richest countries on earth in less than 50 years. Today, the average Singaporean is richer than the average American, but in 1965, everyone thought Singapore was finished, kicked out of Malaysia, no natural resources, smaller than New York City, unemployment everywhere, surrounded by hostile neighbors, and no army. One crisis at a time. Which one do we fix first? All of them. That sounds impossible. And yet, it happened, not because of luck, not because of charity, but because failure left no alternatives. There was no backup plan, no larger country to lean on, no miracle resource underground. To survive, Singapore had to be redesigned, from the ground up, to understand how. We have to rewind. For centuries, Singapore was a gateway for trade, but it had fallen into shadows, easy to ignore, until 1819, when a British trader named Stamford Raffles looked at a swamp and saw a gold mine, not because of land, not because of resources, but because of location, right between India and China, at the choke point of global trade. Ships had to pass through, which meant money had to pass through. Under British rule, the port exploded, immigrants arrived, trade surged, and Singapore became a jewel of empire, until one mistake exposed everything. In 1942, the British guns faced the sea, but the Japanese came by land, a direction the British thought was impossible. Singapore fell in days, but the real damage wasn't military. It was psychological. The empire that promised protection collapsed in a week, and once that illusion broke, colonial loyalty went with it. After the war, Singapore demanded independence, but independence came with a trap: a rushed merger with Malaysia, ethnic tension, economic punishment, and riots. 2 years later, Singapore was expelled. On August 9, 1965, a tiny island became a country, alone. Lee Kuan Yew cried on television, not from joy, but fear, because independence wasn't freedom. It was responsibility. Every mistake would be fatal, every delay permanent. There was no room for ideology, only results. Relying on neighbors for water, no resources, no military, and no room for failure. So he made one bet: if Singapore couldn't grow outward, it would grow upward. Order instead of chaos, systems instead of luck, water secured, corruption erased, business welcomed, housing owned, education prioritized. People became the resource, discipline became the advantage. Rules weren't suggestions, they were survival tools. Clean streets weren't cosmetic, they were signals that this country worked, that contracts mattered, that order was enforced. Investors noticed, freedom was limited, but stability was absolute, and the results spoke loudly. Within one generation, Singapore went from third world to first. Today, it stands as proof that survival isn't about what you are given, it's about what you refuse to accept. If you want more stories like this, follow For the Ones history doesn't explain simply.